Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of ENC Question Reflection, where you get truth, knowledge, and understanding. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and just remind you that if you have not done so already, hit that subscribe button and go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so you do not miss any material that we are putting out. Also, before you start watching this video, go ahead and hit that like button, so go ahead and do that now. Also, if you have anything that you feel you need to say or any questions that you have, any comments you have about the video, please feel free to do that in the comment section. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can always donate at Cash App at $ENC Question Reflection. We also have PayPal. You can do paypal.me/ENC Question Reflection. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's get started. So let's talk. Let's talk. Now, this conversation is going to be about something that I need people to understand. I don't really care what it is that someone else feels on an emotional level. I need you to actually think on a logical level about this, and it's about the way people talk. Yeah, you're like, what? Casey, what on earth is you talking about? So I'm going to start by saying this. Just because someone talks proper does not mean they talk like they're white. Just because someone talks proper does not mean they trying to talk white or they talk like they're white. And just because a person talks with an accent or a little country, or they may use the jargon that they're around, it does not mean that they talk black. Sorry, I got a line of traffic. I'm trying to prioritize my life here. So I hear a lot of people tell a lot of my family members and stuff, because um and let me give y'all a little background, because a lot of people may not understand. I was raised in the black community, so when I say my family, and I ain't just disrespecting my biological mom or my family, my own biological family or anything, but I was raised in the black community. So when I say my family, just know primarily that's what I'm talking about. So I get a lot of the family members, and you speak proper. So I'm gonna give y'all a little history about the English language. The English language is, everything is pronounced a specific way. I don't care what language that you speak. There's always a proper way to pronounce it. Now, whether you pronounce it that way or not depends on the household that you live in. It really just depends on how your parents talk, or whatever it is. So in the English language, you got a lot of words that mean a lot of different things. And then you'll get like words that mean one thing, and then over time, people have switched it to mean something else. So now it has a whole nother meaning. And that's just the curse of the English language. It's the hardest language to learn, because there's so many words that have so many different meanings. They sound the exact same, they're spelled different. They have different meanings. So, with that being said, I don't know if you guys have ever watched this movie, but it's called Nell. It's one of my favorite movies. And it's got Jodie Foster in it, and she plays a woman who lives in the woods. And see, as a young child, her mom had suffered a stroke. She had a twin sister, but her mom had suffered a stroke while they were very, very young. So Nell didn't talk like she didn't pronounce the words to where people could understand what she was saying. And then they finally figured out that she's actually speaking English, but see, because her mom had a stroke, if you ever know anything about a stroke, a lot of people, it paralyzes half of your face. It makes it really hard to pronounce words properly. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because Nell was raised in a household like that with her mom, even though she was speaking English, they called her a wild woman. She couldn't communicate with regular people because she talked different. She pronounced words different. And so I hear people tell the black people that they're speaking like they're white people. And I hear white people, they're being told that they're trying to speak like black people. Stop. Stop. Stop it. Because you sound ignorant. There's always a proper way to say a word. And no one is going to go around talking like this all of their life just to make sure that they pronounce all of the words. And nobody's doing that. Nobody's going to do that. Using the words in a proper context, using the words correctly, not trying to be lazy. When you speak in the English language and you speaking it properly, it does not mean that you are trying to speak like you are a white person. And if you haven't noticed, labeling a person by their color kind of bothers me. It bothers me a lot. I don't like doing it. But because a lot of people can like understand what I'm trying to say, I'm really fighting with using those words because I don't like it. I don't like calling people black people, and I don't like really calling people white people. You know, I'm an artist. I paint, I draw, and in painting, every single person starts off with a burnt sienna. It's a color. When you're painting the pigment on a person, it always starts burnt sienna. I don't care where you come from in the world. Everybody started out that way. So it kind of bothers me when people call people black people because, oh, I promise you, they ain't black. I'm also a photographer, so I edit pictures, and I promise you, you can think something's black all you want to, but I promise you, it's got purple and green in it. It's got purple and green somewhere. So I started talking about this because it's really aggravating to me when someone says stuff like that. You know, they start saying, well, stop trying to talk like you white. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Don't tell people that. You want people to speak the language properly. You want people to use the accent where they come from. People don't understand. I don't care who you are. California people on the west side have a different accent than people on the east side, down here in Florida. I'm from Missouri. I'm from the Midwest. I've been in Florida for 15 years. When I call home and I talk to like my brothers or if I speak to somebody who lives in Missouri, I haven't talked to them for a while. Their accent, I pick it up instantly. I'm like, whoa, you sound funny. But the crazy thing is, I used to sound like that too. But because I've lived here, I've picked up the accent, the jargon, the lingo, how words are pronounced. Shoot, I had a white lady talk country. That's what it's really. That's the accent's name. Is really you're talking country because the words are just pronounced different. But man, look, it doesn't mean because someone is speaking the language properly or they sound intelligent or they ain't always trying to talk like this all the time. It doesn't mean they're talking like they're white. They're just choosing to speak the language correctly or pronounce those words correctly. Stop being so judgmental and so quick to judge somebody in regards to how they're speaking. All my life, people used to tell me that I was talking like I'm black. Trust and believe me, baby. I ain't trying to be nobody but me. I ain't trying to learn how somebody else talks just so I can repeat it. I don't do that. I speak very good English. And yes, I do have an accent, but y'all don't know where I came from. Y'all don't know nothing about me. Y'all don't know where I was raised. You don't know that. So you can't make that judgment. A lot of people try to make premature judgment calls. But me and my husband going to cover a whole video on judgment. So I'm going to save all that. But it's really frustrating because, I heard somebody say it and it was like, well, you trying to talk like you're white. No. People are brought up in different houses. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this. Child is a product of their environment. If I don't care, you could live in the dead center in the middle of the ghetto or dead in the middle of the projects. I don't care where you live at. Inside of your house that your parents are raising you at, the people that talk to you on a regular basis, if they themselves speak proper English, if they themselves teach you to pronounce those words properly and to remember to say the letters that are supposed to be said, if they correct you when you mispronounce a word, I don't care who you are. You're being taught to speak proper English. Same thing in Spanish. Do you know how funny it sounds to people who know how to speak Spanish? Oh my, I almost hit a turtle. I wouldn't have been able to live with that. That'd ate me alive all day long. I'm glad I missed him. He's in the middle of the road and no, I'm not going back on a busy street to pick him up and move him. I'm just going to keep driving. But anyways, oh, that was stressful. So anyways, if they're teaching you to speak that word properly, it's like I was on the phone with my mom earlier and she was doing something and she had called somebody on like a customer service line or something, and they said I forgot what they said. Oh, para español. And I started laughing because my mom knows I know a little Spanish. I know some Spanish. So when someone says those and they pronounce each word, you can tell that they're speaking Spanish by trying to pronounce English words. So it kind of made me laugh. See, because in Spanish, there's certain ways that words are written where you'll pronounce them together, or even in English it's like that. Like the word phone. There's ph, and you see a ph, you pronounce it as an f. It's stuff like that. But even in Spanish, there's an accent to it. There's like this little accent that you can tell if you're speaking it too properly. You can't read Spanish like you read English. It's a whole different language. You know what I'm saying? So you can't sit and talk and tell people that are of a different ethnicity that they're trying to be somebody that they're not, because they're speaking the language on properly, or they're speaking it fluently, or speaking it on a very I want to say like a direct basis, like they pronounce each specific word correctly. You can't tell people that. It's rude. It's very rude. It's very rude. It's very disrespectful. You're trying to tell somebody that they can't speak proper English without being labeled. You want people, now I'm finna start ranting. You want people to act like they got decency. You want people to act like they got common sense. You want people to act like they was raised correctly and had home training, but the second they start speaking English in a proper way, you want to talk trash about them. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't start that. You want people to act like they got sense. You want people to speak the language correct, you know? And you got people like me who kind of have a little jargon going. I mean, I've been saying fitness since I was little. My grandma used to get so mad at me. What's fitness? I've been saying fitness. And it's just, I mean, it's just how, because that's where I told y'all, that's how where I was raised at. You know, that's kind of the lingo or the jargon that we used when I was a kid. We finna do this and we finna do that. And it's just a lazy way to say I'm fixing to, you know? But now that I am not fixing to start doing that, you know? I'm just going to be me. But I speak very good English. I speak very educated, and ain't nobody gonna tell me different. And I know what I'm doing when I say ain't no, and I know that's a double negative. I don't need anybody to tell me that's a double negative if I choose to say it like that. Sometimes I say stuff the way I say it because I'm trying to make a point. But you got other people who are not doing stuff like that. You have other people who speak the way that they speak because they were raised that way. You can't talk down on them and act like they it's wrong for them to be able to speak clear English because they're not of the same ethnicity as you are. You wrong for that. You wrong for that. And it's the same. It goes the other way too. For people who, people they want to dress a certain way, or you got people who want to start wearing South Pole or Fat Foam. I'm sorry, I'm old school. I don't know the new brands. And now all of a sudden you trying to be urban. Now you're trying to be hood. Oh, that was a term. Now you're trying to be hood. Stop. And no, I'm not gonna tell you right now. Being trying to act a certain way, I'm gonna tell you, certain stuff ain't cute. Certain stuff is not cute at all. Certain things, sagging, you will never get me to tell you that sagging makes sense, that sagging is respectable, that sagging is decent, and that the history behind it proves so. You are not going to get me to believe that. Never. Because I go back on history. I go back on facts, things that make sense. I'm not gonna start sitting here, telling people what they can and cannot do, and if they do something one way, it's gonna make them act something else. I'm not gonna do that. I don't do stuff like that, and I go back on the origins of specific words and to find out what those words actually mean, or the origins of certain words. For instance, I'll give you a really good example, and I almost didn't say this, but I'm going to say it. So my children are mixed, as people who subscribe to my channel know. My children are mixed ethnicities. No, I'm not going to say mixed races because that's ignorant too. Because mixed races would entail that there's more than one, and there's not. There's one. It's called the human race. Go back to science class if you think different. So apparently, it's okay for people to drop N bombs as long as you have a black background. Did you know I teach my children different? I don't let my children speak like that. I surely don't. I don't speak like that. Daddy don't speak like that. I don't like them to say stuff like that. The point is, it doesn't make them a different person because they choose to or choose not to use specific words or to pronounce them correctly. Because that's definitely one word, if you pronounce it correctly, is very disrespectful. That is very rude, very inconsiderate. Bet you didn't think about that. Stop telling people they are acting white because they speak intelligently, because they actually pronounce words correctly. And you might be like, well, who are you to talk, Case? Because you are definitely not one to talk about speaking correctly. I'm gonna tell you why I can say it. Because what I'm telling you is a fact. It's the truth. You want to argue? You want to argue? Hit me up on them comments and we'll go on StreamYard. You want to argue? Let's do this. Let's do this. I got a StreamYard account. I sure do. Is there anything you want to argue with me about? Let's do this. We can argue. Because I'm not fixing to allow my children to be looked down on because they speak properly. Yeah, we teach our children to speak properly, but we also teach our children to understand Ebonics. The world that we're living in now, proper English may sound just like this to some people. You have to let people be respectable, be decent. You have to allow people to speak how they speak. And see, the thing is, you can't ask people to be nice, decent people or to do things the right way, and then tell them, "Well, you just trying to be white." How many times have you called the call centers and you get like somebody who you cannot understand one single word because they can't speak English very well? Or you can't understand one single word because they speak English, but their accent is really bad. I know I have. And I'm never rude because I was a manager in a call center. So, like, I have been trained to be able to read language barriers and to understand what they're trying to say. So it doesn't get as aggravating for me, but I can only imagine other people who are not trained to understand language barriers, how they would feel about that or how they would take that. But yet someone who is speaking proper English to you, that you understand every single thing that they are saying, that you still have something to say about it. Maybe that's because people are always going to have something to say. They're always going to be wanting to find something to complain about. Or maybe it's those one people who want you to treat them a certain way, but the second you treat them that way, they get all bent out of shape. Stop doing that. Stop being disrespectful to people who are just trying to speak intelligently, who are actually trying to use words inside of context, who are actually trying to pronounce the English words properly. Because English is not an easy. Let me tell you, it's the same people saying that stuff. Have a conversation with them for 30 minutes. Have a conversation with them for 30 minutes and then dissect their English language or their way of speaking. I ain't gonna tell you what I would tell them because it's not very nice. and I'll just keep that to myself. But you have to understand that people are a product of their environment. So just like I said, I wasn't born in Florida. I was raised in Kansas City, Missouri. And so when I came to Florida, I talked, like Midwest, you know. When I came to Florida, my accent started to change. You start to adapt to the people that are around you. There was one word, there was two words that I used to say and people used to laugh at me. It was regardless and Dora. I used to say that. And I don't say that now. I done got out of doing that because, I used to say it's regardless or his daughter. But I used to say daughter and regardless. And people could have laughed at me about that. Well, they did. They thought that was kind of funny. But it's all about where you are, where you from, who you're around, and then here people go trying to talk bad about people when, they can't help how they were raised. They were raised to speak proper English. They were raised to speak, to pronounce the words properly. Look at me. I still say finda sometimes. My grandma used to man, she used to be so mad about that. Finda, what's that? Finda. I'm talking about my biological grandmother. Now, sometimes I still say it. I still say it a lot. Sometimes I don't know. I'm fixing to, so I'm about to, or I'm fixing to, I'll say it right. But there's some people who say it right all the time. There's no reason to tell them that they're acting a certain way or that they're trying to be something that they're not just because they chose to do something the right way. What you mad for? What you think? Let me not say that. Yeah, let me say that. Are you trying to say that the white way, the white way is the right way? Somebody please say yes so I can dive into that. Because it ain't. There's only one right way. There's only one truth. There's only one fact about anything and everything. You can't be like that. You can't be thinking that just because you're this, that you're doing things perfectly. Ain't nobody perfect. If you was perfect, then Jehovah God would be speaking to you, and he's not. So God don't deal with imperfection. So then that should tell you something right then and there. I ain't trying to start no stuff. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't like it. I don't like for people to be put down or to talk down on when they're actually doing something to benefit themselves, or when they're doing something that ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with speaking English, sounding out each word, or speaking the words, the right way, the way they're actually supposed to be pronounced. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You start getting, like me, look me, getting. If I wanted to be proper, it's getting. You can't be like that. How would you like it if somebody judged you for something you was doing? How would you like it if you speak proper English and you don't want anybody else to speak proper English? So you don't speak proper or you speak proper English and you're going to talk about somebody else, but then somebody else comes up to you and tells you how stuck up you are. What are you going to say about how being stuck up? What? You can't be so quick to judge someone about something they're doing, or you can't be so quick to say someone is doing something one way when they're not doing it the wrong way. You can't be like that. I hate when people say that. That somebody's just trying to, you're just trying to be this, or you just trying to be that. Maybe, and maybe there's some things that somebody is trying to be. Maybe a person is wanting to be a better person, and they don't want to be in trouble with the law anymore. So they try to change and be something else because that's not working for them. What if I just said, you're just trying to be righteous? You want to know what the definition of righteous is? Righteous means to do things the right way. And them same people telling you, you're just trying to be righteous, be the ones want to see you fail, want to see you get in trouble, want to see you locked up behind bars, and be the last one to help you get out. So I'm going to leave y'all with that there because I can go on and on and on about this all day long. But I'm going to tell you this. If you're doing it, stop. Stop telling people that just because they speak proper English, they say words like they're supposed to be said, that they just trying to be like white people. Stop telling black people that. Stop telling them to do things the wrong way when they should be doing them the right way. Commend them for actually speaking something the right way. Give people the credit that they deserve. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. With that being said, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit all so that you do not miss any of the material that we put out. And with that being said, I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side.